Hello, good people of Fully Charged. 2023 is looking like being a great year for new electric cars. Supply chain issues are improving, lead times on new models are getting shorter, and on top of that, there is a metric arseload of shiny new models coming at us in all shapes and sizes from every corner of the earth. There are actually so many new electric cars coming this year that it's quite difficult to keep track of it all, but fear not, I've done so for you. And in this video, what I'm going to quite ambitiously attempt is a speed run of every single new electric car set to be launched in 2023. Now, a bit of housekeeping before we begin. First of all, I'm going to try to focus this list on cars that are actually going into production and being delivered to customers in 2023. I might give a few special shout outs to a handful of cars that might be unveiled this year and then go into production in 2024. Secondly, once you get to the end of this video, what I need you to immediately do is go down into the comments and tell me which of these cars listed you want to see covered on the channel this year. You can think of this video like a menu. You tell me what you want and I'll give it you. Thirdly, look, I'm gonna miss stuff, okay? The world is a big place. This video took me bloody ages, but realistically, I am going to forget something or other. Just be nice and let me know in the comments if I miss a really exciting car that's coming this year. I think I've done a pretty good job of covering off Europe and North America, but I've definitely missed one.
Like the Fully Charged Show? Then you will love our 6 live shows being held around the world in 2023, starting with Sydney, Australia on March the 11th and 12th.
Now let's begin with new cars coming out of the UK in 2023, and we're going to start with a Vauxhall / Opel / not really that English at all. Now, whisper it quietly, but Vauxhall / Opel are coming out with some really quite charming electric cars these days. And in 2023, the lovely dinky Mokka-e and Corsa-e is set to be joined by the bigger, more practical and rangier Astra-e. This looks like being a genuinely enticing alternative to the likes of the VW ID.3 and Aura Funky Cat, and it's coming as an estate car too. Ooh. At a slightly different price point, this is also the year that the world will be treated to the Lotus Electra and Rolls-Royce Spectre. Now, the Lotus is utterly bonkers, a big hulking 4-seater SUV with genuine supercar intentions and an absolute bargain at a mere £90,000, because you could have 3 of those and the Astra-e and quite a bit of change, all for the price of the Rolls, which looks like being every bit as opulent and exquisite as you would hope and expect an electric Rolls to be. Incidentally, exactly why it's taken a brand so completely obsessed with smooth, silent powertrains so long to go electric is totally beyond me, but they are most welcome. And if anyone from Rolls-Royce is watching this, I am open to a long-term press car. Incidentally, worth noting, we did a first look video at the Lotus Electra almost a year ago now. I'll put the link in the description below. A lot of the cars you're going to see in this video, we've already done first looks at. All the links will be down there. The coming months will also see production commence of the pride of Scotland, the Munro Mark 1. This brutally boxy off-roading beast makes a Land Rover Defender look like a city-dwelling sissy. This is actually a really interesting product, and there's a lot more to it than meets the eye, and you will be seeing me drive it up a very steep cliff in the coming months. And just to close out the UK section, let's very quickly mention a car which is barely from the UK at all and is almost definitely not coming in 2023, but I'm mentioning it anyway because it's my list, and it's the MG Cyberster. Why? Because it's a 2-seater, relatively lightweight, relatively low-powered electric convertible sports car. Take my money. Moving on to the Netherlands, where 2 very exciting, very solar-powered contraptions will be coming our way in 2023, starting with the Squad Solar. Super quirky little electric city car. It's got an innovative exoskeleton design, it's got swappable batteries, it's got removable doors, and yes, a load of solar panels on the roof. And by the way, I sat in one of these at Fully Charged Live Amsterdam, where it was revealed to the world for the first time last year, and I fit just fine. It passes the jack test. And second is, of course, the almighty Lightyear Zero, a staggering, game-changing, goalpost-shifting, ultra-efficient electric car. We cannot wait to get our hands on this thing. We've got some very special plans for it in 2023. Watch this space. In the meantime, go and watch our first drive video from last year, in which we get just a teeny bit arrested.
That's a first. I've never been pulled over.
We interrupt this program to briefly be pulled over by the police.
Let's now pop over to Italy, who, it's fair to say, are joining the EV party in a really substantial way in 2023. First of all, we have the bonkers little Abarth 500e, which I took a first look at a few weeks ago. It's very loud, it's very brightly coloured, it's very silly. I can't wait to drive it. And there's also an incoming wave of electric Maseratis. This is a legendary brand with a glorious past, which it would be fair to say has been slightly off its game in recent years, so has made the wise decision to start afresh and go big on electric. That means that every Maserati model will have an electric version by 2025, and by 2030, all Maseratis will be pure electric only. And this will kick off this year with the new Maserati Gran Turismo, a brawny Grand Tourer, which according to early reports is very good to drive and really bloody fast. This will be followed later this year by the marginally more sensible Grecale, that's a crossover SUV, and then the significantly less sensible electric MC20 supercar Woof. But actually, the Italian EVs that I am by far the most excited about in 2023 is the incoming wave of affordable electric Fiats. Fiat has announced that it will be committed to affordable electrification in the coming years, and that a new full range of small electric cars is coming, some of which will draw their design inspiration from the beautiful Centoventi concept of 2019. They may well even make use of classic Fiat names from the past, so we could be talking about a new electric Fiat Panda, electric Fiat Punto. Cannot wait. We don't know a whole lot about these yet, as you can probably tell, but we are really looking forward to seeing what Fiat comes out with here. Small, affordable, simple electric cars continue to be about as rare as rocking horse poo, so this is a welcome piece of news. Let's now quickly pop over to France, where there isn't too much to shout about in 2023. Citroën will give us the E308 and E308 Estate, that's a sister car to the Astra E. Citroën will coupify the lovely squashy EC4 and call it the EC4X, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get a look at a production-ready version of the Renault 5 that made all of our jaws drop last year, although the actual car is not expected until 2024. Sweden, meanwhile, will give us a pair of lovely luxurious SUVs in the form of the Polestar 3 and Volvo EX90. Towards the back end of the year, we may also get glimpses of their smaller siblings, the Polestar 4 and Volvo EX40, both due the following year. Polestar 3 video already live. Go have a look. And that brings us to Germany, where there is a lot. 2023 is the year that we will finally meet VW's sleek electric saloon car, codenamed Aero B, built of course using that ultra-versatile MEB platform. Great to note that there are a few non-SUV cars on this list, by the way. Anyway, back to loads more SUVs. The Smart #1, that's coming this year. Bloody awful name, very impressive car. Geely engineering, Mercedes packaging, winning recipe, and I was really impressed when I had a first look at it last year. Looking forward to seeing how that drives. Also, there's a Brabus one with like 1 million horsepower. That's fun. BMW will soon begin making deliveries of the smallest EV in its current repertoire, the iX1. In fact, they may have actually started delivering these just at the very end of last year. And then towards the back end of 23, hopefully we will see the new BMW i5. For those who think that an i4 isn't quite luxurious or roomy enough, but don't need the full IMAX Cinema i7 experience, because no one does. Audi's new electric flagship, the Q8 e-tron, will be along in the first quarter of this year. Already had a look, very impressive thing, video down below. And later in the year, we will see a smaller Q6 e-tron. We may also get a look at the A6 Avant e-tron, another electric estate car, baby. That, however, likely won't go into production until 2024. This is also the year that we get electric Porsche #2, and this time it's the turn of the Macan, Porsche's ultra-popular compact crossover performance SUV type thing. If the Taycan is anything to go by, it will go like stink and sell like the hottest of cakes. Reminder that the Taycan outsells the Porsche 911 in the UK these days. Let that sink in. Mercedes, I can barely keep up with these days. Fair play to them, they are absolutely churning out electric cars at this point. We've got EQA, EQB, EQC, EQE, EQE AMG, EQS, EQS AMG, EQS SUV, WX, Y and Z. This year they will be adding to that the EQE SUV, but the one that everyone is talking about, the one that everyone is excited for, is the EQG, the electric G-Wagon. Yes, there's going to be an electric G-Wagon. Why not? It didn't make any sense in the petrol days. It makes just as little sense in the electric world. We might as well. It's a brilliant, mad, bonkers car, and it can do tank turns. Look at this. Not scheduled till 2024, but we may well see a production-ready version later this year, given that they've already started churning out teaser content. Who knows? But for me, there is one incoming German electric car that eclipses them all, and it might be the car that I'm the most excited about in 2023. It's of course the Sono Scion. This car represents everything that we love and encourage here at Fully Charged. It's sensible, it's practical, it's affordable, it's efficient, it's solar powered. We love it. And actually, at the time of recording this, there is some doubts about Sono Scion's future. The brand is struggling a bit for cash, and there are worries that this car may never come into existence. I really, really hope that they manage to pull this off, because it's a wonderful project and the exact sort of car that we need more of in this world. Moving on to Japan now, where there is still frustratingly little to write home about. Mazda will release its MX-30 with a range extender in an effort to improve its slightly hopeless range. Lexus will give us the RZ, which is a slightly posher sibling to Toyota's surprisingly brilliant BZ4X SUV. And Honda, who have been awfully quiet since giving us the delightful but very expensive E, will follow it up with a slightly more down-to-earth, medium-sized crossover SUV type thing, codenamed the eNE1. Is that NE1? Is that what that's supposed to say? Hate that. This looks like being a much more Honda type of car and a much bigger volume seller than the E, so I would consider this Honda really jumping into electrification with gusto. Good to see. On to Korea, Kia will reveal its biggest EV to date this year, the EV9. I kind of wish they were going smaller, not bigger with their electric cars, but I strongly suspect that this is a car that has one eye firmly on the American market, where I imagine it's going to be a big old hit. There is some speculation that that will be followed up by a smaller, more Euro-focused EV4, but that's not confirmed yet. It's pure speculation. We might see Hyundai's Ioniq 7 this year. That's the sister car to the EV9, although it's not actually scheduled until 2024. We will, however, see the first ever Hyundai Performance EV in the Ioniq 5N. Oh, and we'll also see a little car called the Ioniq 6 go into production this year, a car which I believe is the best electric car in the world right now, a car which I've already done a full review of. Go have a look down there. It's a good video, if I do say so myself. Let's stop briefly in Vietnam now, because off the back of delivering its first batch of VF8s to the US market, this year VinFast will deliver its VF9, the bigger and, to my eye, much better looking sibling. This is one of the only 3-row 7-seater electric SUVs that you can get right now, and just a really fascinating brand, a really, really interesting company, which Imogen did a detailed report on last year. Link is down below if you want to see that. And that brings us to a little place called China. Now, 2023 is the year that the Chinese car industry goes full gangbusters on the European market. They've been testing the waters, selling a couple of little cheeky EVs in Norway, maybe a couple in the Netherlands, but they're all going full banger at Europe in 2023. You're going to see a lot more Chinese cars on the road this year. Aways, or iWays, not sure, should have checked before filming, will bring its U5 SUV to the UK in 2023, a car that is already quite popular in parts of Europe. BYD will deliver its hugely impressive, unfortunately named Seal to Europe, a car which our man in China, Elliot Richards, was hugely impressed by in his recent review of it. And that will arrive along with the Atto, that's a compact SUV, the Tang, which is a bigger SUV, and the Han, which is a flagship luxurious saloon. Yeah, like I said, Chinese brands not messing about this year. NIO, meanwhile, will begin delivering its ET5, ET7 and EL7 models to select European markets this year, as well as rolling out a few more of their incredible battery swapping stations. If you don't know about NIO battery swapping, go and check out our video in the link down below. These are serious cars. NIO is not a brand interested in playing the whole affordability entry-level game. This is a premium mark. And when Elliot drove the ET7, he called it the best Chinese car he'd ever seen. He said that it was a genuine Audi, Mercedes, BMW killer. So keep an eye on those guys. And finally, XPeng will break beyond the shallow kiddie pool of the Norwegian market into some other European markets this year, with some combination of their P5, P7 and G9 SUV. There are a lot of interesting things I could tell you about the XPeng brand, but I'm going to choose to go with the fact that the P7 can be had with scissor doors. Look at these. That's the most important thing. Also, strongest design language of any Chinese brand? Agree? Disagree? Let me know in the comments. And finally, we arrive at the good old US of a car industry that is really embracing electrification in 2023 in a big way. So let's start with Tesla, and I've been dreading doing this one because, I mean, who knows? It's Tesla. They don't really do things in a conventional way. They don't really subscribe to timelines of any understandable sort. So this is pure speculation, okay? Forgive me if this is horribly wrong. Now, I'm pretty sure that this is the year the Tesla Semi goes into production in substantial numbers. That's a relatively safe bet because they've already started building it in very small numbers. This could also be the year that the Cybertruck comes to life. Now, that's purely based off of the fact that some photos have been taken inside gigafactories of what appear to be naked Cybertruck frames. I don't know. It could be this year, it could be 10 years from now. But what I know for sure is if this is the year the Cybertruck arrives, it will be the biggest, most hyped launch of any car in 2023. Beyond that, Roadster, facelifted Model 3, Model 2, I don't know. Do you know? Let me know in the comments if you know. Are you Elon Musk? Tell me. Tell me. General Motors will be getting seriously busy with electrification this year across several of their brands. The Cadillac Lyriq has already commenced production in small numbers, but that will ramp up in 2023. And this is another car that's getting some seriously impressive coverage over its first few reviews. Uber comfortable, super high-tech, very luxurious, and not too badly priced considering all of the above. If you'd like us to send our man Ricky Roy over in the US to cover this car, just let us know in the comments and we'll make it happen. Chevy will release the Blazer EV midway through 2023. That's a mid-sized electric SUV with a very reasonable price tag. And that will be followed shortly after by the Equinox, and then sometime in early 2024 we get the Silverado EV. That's another American icon turning electric. Canoo will begin deliveries of its brilliantly odd LDV to Walmart this year. If you're not aware, Walmart placed an order for several thousand of these delivery vehicles. They're going to build those first. That will then fund the passenger vehicle. Looking good for Canoo. They looked a little bit wobbly there for a little while last year, but things are starting to look peachy. Fingers crossed for these guys because it's a really interesting little contraption, which Ricky has covered for us already. Link down below. Ford will unveil a small electric SUV this year, which will be built using VW Group's MEB platform. That's quite interesting. This will be followed in early 2024 by an even smaller crossover SUV, the Puma EV. Like I said, the Americans are getting busy this year, but these next two, these are the ones I'm most excited about. First, we've got the Fisker Ocean, a strikingly handsome electric SUV, which is going to be available in a real range of versions, starting from a sort of middling range, relatively sensible family SUV, all the way up to a face-melting, ultra-long range, go-anywhere adventure vehicle. We were very impressed when we saw this thing at Goodwood last year. You guys seem to respond very well to it as well. If you haven't seen that video in which we have a look at the car and have a chat with Henrik Fisker, link is of course down below. And finally, my favourite incoming electric car of 2023, it's the Aptera, the swoopy Dolphin, the rule breaker. This is efficiency with the gloves off. This is a car that can do 10 miles to the kilowatt hour, which can cover 1,000 miles on a charge spec'd correctly. I was blown away by this thing when we drove the prototype last summer, video down below. It's come an awful long way since then, it would be fair to say, and we will be covering them again on the channel as soon as we possibly can. So there we have it. It's going to be a great year for new electric cars. We can't wait to bring you some awesome content on these incredible vehicles in the coming months. I'm going to go have a lie down now. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and if you have been, thanks for watching.